Alright, welcome to the Heralding Cannabis news video for the week ending July 5th, 2019. Alright, it's been a crazy trading week. Even though we had a really great vacation or break right in the middle of it, it really seemed like every stock this week was getting battered pretty hard. If you're kind of in the loop on any of the news mediums out there, you will know that the reason for this is because Canopy Growth, which we'll go ahead and click on right now, Canopy Growth decided to oust its co-CEO, Bruce Linton. He has been the face of not just Canopy Growth, but also cannabis for the better part of a good year or so. He's a talking head for the industry, and so with him being ousted, the whole entire sector as a whole is really taking some heat. So we'll go ahead and look at some of the other stocks here in a second. But I want to go ahead and show you, just kind of how strong Canopy Growth is. We do not have a position in it currently right now. That's for other reasons. But you can see that when the news was announced, the stock tumbled, but it fought right back up. I do believe Barron's.com did something where they wrote a quick little article about how fast Canopy Growth actually bounced right back up on the news. A lot of that is because a lot of people are invested in Canopy Growth. It's a big one. It's one of our blue chip stocks within the cannabis sector. It's one of the cornerstones of the sector. And so anything that affects it in a negative way, it does. It affects the rest of the market, as we can see this whole week. So if you go up, you can see that almost all of the cannabis stocks, a lot of these are just the cannabis list that we have here at T.H.C. We have multiple T.H.C. lists here, but this is just one of the main ones that we utilize on the daily. A lot of these stocks are not your typical penny stock to where they're the triple zeros or you're going to lose your investment within 5 to 15 minutes. These are the stocks that actually have the staying power. Whether or not they will still be here within 5 years or not is totally up to the market. But right now, these are the ones that we look at currently. So if you recognize some of these, you might recognize that a lot of their levels are pretty low compared to where they were a couple months ago. Let's look at one of our favorites, Aurora, for example. Aurora, if we go ahead and zoom out, we can see is still pretty far down from that high back, in between March and April of $10. So the news of Canopy Growth kicking out its CEO also didn't bode well for ACB. Everybody's just getting beat down. A lot of it has to do with, profits being realized right now. A lot of it has to do with there's a lot of late 2017, early 2018 convertible notes out there that a lot of investors now that are jumping on the boat now for a lot of these securities don't really realize that these notes, are coming due right now, and there's a lot of companies that still have notes due till 2020. So as a new investor, please do your due diligence to look in there and find out who is owed what by the companies that you're looking at and when those notes are due, because toxic debt can ruin your investment in a weekend, really. Let's go ahead and make some notable mentions for this week. Again, go ahead and go to Aurora. We can see that Aurora's news, I don't like going through Aurora's news that much. It's always filled with barons and stuff like that, and they kind of just spam blurst you all day. But we scoot back, we can also see that Hexo itself was not unscathed. It was taking big hits as well. Let's see what else somebody else might have that they know from this list. Village Farms. Alright, we've got a very crazy history with Village Farms. I have yet to finish our article for Village Farms because it keeps changing. Every time I'm about to, make our stance about what we think is going to happen, the stock does something else, or Texas signs some crazy piece of legislation. So Village Farms is one that we are still monitoring. As you can see, we see that there is a lot of selling pressure, obviously, at 14 cents. It tried to get up there a couple times. It has not. So I would be curious to see if this next fight up over 12 will even come close to 13. If so, Village Farms is still in it. If not, look out below. Who knows what's going to happen there? I don't know. Alright, a couple other ones. Big news items this week. Canatrust. Let's go there real quick. Ticker symbol CTST. Canatrust actually just announced, I think it was yesterday or the day before yesterday, that Citigroup got a buy initiated on them. It's pretty interesting for them. I believe it was at $7 a share. So there's plenty of wiggle room there, considering they're only barely at $5 a share. Another big giant news thing that shocked the sector, but not really surprising if you follow this and you know about Marijuana Company of America, ticker symbol MCOA. They announced that they are going to be doing a reverse split, 1-for-60. And as you can see, everybody jumped ship. A lot of people jumped ship. 1-for-60 is, pretty bad. But please, do your own due diligence when it comes to reverse splits. We've been in, probably about 6 or 7 splits, and maybe only 1 or 2 of them were semi-favorable. But then again, that was because, they're toxic and there's also convertible debt attached to these. So let's go ahead and put the MCOA reverse split on the shelf, and hopefully we'll get back to that at some point. If you guys do hold stock in MCOA and want to know more, faster, please send us, hit subscribe and send us a like. Maybe shoot us a message, or even go to the heraldingcannabist.com and put on a message on one of our boards there to, get your message out there. If you want this information, I'll get it for you. I know where to look. All right, a couple little more honorable mentions and we'll close out for today. All right, POTN looks like it might have hit its bottom at 5, so this could be a nice little bounce. It might make it up to that 200-day mark, or 200 day average mark up there, or it could just keep going down further. You guys know POTN. They like to disclose a lot of their numbers, but then they fail to back it up. And I think that should close it out for this week. Like I said, everybody was just beat up, mainly because of CGC, also because of the holiday, and also because it's the summer, and all the cannabis stocks do pretty bad during the summer. If you'd like to find out why our holdings are not doing bad at all, or have actually gained money these last 2 months, gained actually all of our losses back from earlier in the year. So please stay tuned for some videos on that. I have to look up rules to see what I can actually say about that kind of stuff before we can actually do that. But please stay tuned, and if not, I'll leave you with this little piece of info. I do believe Kush Bottles will be releasing their earnings on Tuesday, so watch out for that. And also, because Kush Bottles will be doing that, watch out for the new market multiple on Kush Bottles to come out shortly after. By shortly, I mean at least 24 hours. I need time to read the darn thing. Shortly after their earnings report is released, I will go ahead and crunch more numbers and get their brand new updated market report, or market multiple, up there. For those that have already asked, I am still working on CGC's new market multiple along with Aurora's, just because I did get in some new numbers. And I have got a couple of responses from some companies in regards to their extraction efficiency numbers. For those that do not know, an extraction efficiency coefficient, or that number, is going to be kind of the the amount of distillate that they are able to extract from the source cannabis plant. Eventually, that is going to be, even more categorized and more specified as science unveils, different ways to extract those different cannabinoids, and also the different uses for each of these different cannabinoids, because this plant is actually pretty crazy.